Could you imagine what it would be like to be the world's first billionaire? Imagine the power, the responsibility, the opportunity. Now, let me tell you the story of John D. Rockefeller, a man whose vision and determination not only created vast wealth, but also shaped the very foundations of modern capitalism. Introduction to Rockefeller. John Davison Rockefeller, born on July 8, 1839, in Richford, New York, was the second of 6 children in a modest family. His father, William Avery Rockefeller, was a traveling salesman who led a somewhat dubious life, which included schemes that bordered on the fraudulent. His mother, Eliza Davison Rockefeller, was a homemaker who held the family together with her strong moral and religious convictions. Rockefeller's formal education was basic but provided him a foundation in mathematics and bookkeeping. At 16, he landed his first job as an assistant bookkeeper in Cleveland, Ohio, where his family had moved in the mid-1850s. His early work experience, combined with his natural aptitude for numbers and meticulous record-keeping, played a critical role in shaping his future business endeavors. In 1859, at the age of 20, Rockefeller ventured into the business world with a partner, Maris B. Clark. They established a commission merchant business dealing in hay, grain, meats, and other goods. The business prospered, but the turning point in Rockefeller's career came with the discovery of oil in Titusville, Pennsylvania. Sensing the potential of this new industry, Rockefeller shifted his focus from his merchant business to oil refining. The timing was perfect. The American oil industry was in its infancy, and the demand for kerosene and other petroleum products was rising rapidly due to the decline of whale oil as a primary light source. In 1863, Rockefeller and several partners established the first refinery near Cleveland, strategically positioned due to the city's proximity to the oil fields and its excellent transportation network. Founding of Standard Oil Company in 1870, John D. Rockefeller made history with the founding of the Standard Oil Company, a groundbreaking venture that would revolutionize the oil industry. With a vision for efficiency and innovation, Rockefeller set out to streamline the production and distribution of oil, transforming an industry rife with inefficiencies into a model of modern business practices. Under Rockefeller's leadership, Standard Oil quickly emerged as a dominant force in the oil industry, controlling over 90% of the country's refining capacity by the 1880s. Through a series of strategic acquisitions and mergers, Rockefeller consolidated his control over the industry, solidifying his position as one of the most powerful businessmen of his time. Innovations in the oil industry. As the 19th century waned, Standard Oil didn't just dominate the oil industry by sheer force of will or economic power. It transformed it through groundbreaking innovations that are still felt today. Rockefeller was a pioneer in more ways than one. His innovations were not confined to his business strategies, but extended into the very processes of oil refining and transportation that propelled the industry forward. Under Rockefeller's guidance, Standard Oil introduced techniques that increased the yield of kerosene from crude oil, significantly lowering production costs and making kerosene, the era's principal lighting fuel, affordable to the average American household. Challenges and controversies. As Standard Oil's shadow loomed large over America, the backlash against its practices grew just as formidable. By the early 20th century, John D. Rockefeller found himself at the center of intense scrutiny, both from the public and the government. Rockefeller's strategies, while incredibly effective in building a business empire, often skirted the edges of legality and ethics. This provoked a national debate about the limits of corporate power and the need for regulatory oversight. The most significant legal challenge came in the form of the Sherman Antitrust Act, a landmark federal statute passed in 1890 aimed at curbing concentrations of power that interfere with trade and reduce economic competition. Standard Oil's monopoly was directly targeted by this legislation. In 1911, the Supreme Court found Standard Oil in violation of the Sherman Act and ordered it to be broken up into 34 independent companies. This decision was celebrated as a victory for small businesses and consumers alike, setting a precedent for antitrust laws in the United States. The breakup of Standard Oil marked a turning point in American business history, symbolizing the nation's commitment to ensuring free competition and addressing the excesses of corporate monopolies. As the 20th century dawned, John D. Rockefeller, now one of the world's richest men, began to shift his focus from accumulating wealth to distributing it. His philanthropic endeavors would become as legendary as his business tactics. Rockefeller was a complex figure. Despite the ruthless methods he employed in business, he was also a deeply religious man who believed in the Christian duty of giving back to the community. Rockefeller established several major philanthropic institutions, including the Rockefeller Foundation, which aimed to promote the well-being of humanity by tackling global challenges. This foundation funded groundbreaking work in medicine, science, and education, radically changing these fields. His donations led to the creation of the University of Chicago and Rockefeller University, which have both played pivotal roles in advancing educational and scientific research. His support for medical research led to significant advancements in public health, such as the development of a yellow fever vaccine. Rockefeller's personal life was marked by his devout Baptist beliefs, which influenced his philanthropic philosophy. He believed wealth was a divine trust that should be used to improve the world, a principle that guided him throughout his later years. Despite his controversial business practices, Rockefeller's contributions to philanthropy have had a lasting impact, continuing to benefit society long after his death in 1937. His dual legacy, as both a ruthless businessman and a generous philanthropist, remains a fascinating paradox that continues to inspire and provoke debate to this day. Comparative analysis with contemporary tycoons. In the panorama of great industrialists and tycoons, John D. Rockefeller stands as a seminal figure. Yet, when his legacy is placed alongside today's billionaires, fascinating contrasts and similarities emerge. Rockefeller's time was marked by the rapid expansion of industries and the accumulation of wealth through physical commodities like oil. Today, many tycoons build their fortunes in the digital realm, focusing on technology and services. Contemporary magnates like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk mirror Rockefeller in their drive to innovate and dominate specific sectors. Bezos with Amazon has revolutionized retail and cloud computing, much like Rockefeller did with the oil industry. Meanwhile, Musk's ventures into electric cars and space travel reflect a similar ambition to reshape industries. However, the scale of influence and control exercised by Rockefeller through Standard Oil is unmatched by most modern entrepreneurs. While today's business leaders wield significant economic power, antitrust regulations, born out of the backlash against Rockefeller's practices, have ensured more competition. The public perception of tycoons has also shifted. Rockefeller was both revered and reviled, seen as a symbol of both American success and corporate greed. Modern tycoons face a similar dichotomy, celebrated for their innovations but criticized for their wealth and power. The enduring legacy of John D. Rockefeller. More than 8 decades after his passing, John D. Rockefeller's influence continues to reverberate through various aspects of society, from business and philanthropy to public policy and culture. Rockefeller's impact goes beyond his business acumen. He shaped the very fabric of American society. His philanthropic endeavors have left an indelible mark on education, healthcare, and scientific research. Rockefeller's vision for philanthropy was revolutionary, laying the groundwork for modern philanthropic institutions and practices. His belief in strategic giving and long-term investment in social causes set a precedent for future philanthropists. Today, the Rockefeller Foundation remains a major force in global philanthropy, tackling pressing issues such as public health, environmental sustainability, and economic development.